So just when you thought you were keeping up, Google released Nano Banana 2 today. So Nano Banana 2 is Gemini 3.1 Flash, which means that it has the speed of the original Nano Banana, which was Nano Banana Flash, with the quality of Nano Banana Pro. So we're kind of combining that high quality with fast generation. So we're going to have a look at it right now to see how good it is. Nano Banana 2 replaces Nano Banana 1, but it also sort of replaces Nano Banana Pro. However, we're going to test it and we're going to look at Nano Banana 2 with the Pro generations. Now, as far as free access, you still get 2 to 3 images per day for free on Gemini if you want to generate them at high resolution. All right, so big news. Nano Banana 2 came out today. We're going to have a quick look at it here. So what it's doing is combining Pro capabilities with lightning fast speed. So this is using a lot of the intelligence from Nano Banana Pro, but because this is Flash, this is Nano Banana 2 Flash, it's going to generate faster. This is the promise here. So if we want to look at this, so we've got up to 5 characters and the fidelity of 14 objects. And we'll test this in a moment. So I have a Pro membership here under Gemini, so we're under the Gemini app. And what we're going to do is we are going to click on Tools, Create Image. So one of the new things here is the style picker, so we can, create these in different styles. By choosing a style, then we can use our reference images by uploading them here if we want, and then doing the prompt. So whether we choose Fast Thinking or Pro, these are all going to be using Nano Banana 2. So if you have a paid subscription in the Pro level or above, like I do, once you've generated, then we have the ability to hit the 3-dot menu and then regenerate it using Nano Banana Pro. The free users are not going to get access to Pro by the looks of it. But from what I can tell, the quality of 2 is really amazing and it's generating faster. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to create an image. And let's start with a style. These styles are shown here. We're going to start cinematic. And I'm going to do a prompt. Underwater scene about 30 feet below surface with light breaking through from the top. On the bottom, we have a coral reef with a sunken shipwreck. The ship is a World War II battleship. It's been there 3 years. Sharks and other sea life like octopus and giant squid are abundant. All right, let's see where we go. So what's actually new for our workflows? You get 4K resolution and sharp text rendering in seconds, which is a total game changer for design layouts and mockups. Subject consistency. This is the big one. You can now lock in the likeness of your characters and objects, keeping them completely consistent across multiple different scenes and camera angles. And in real-time web grounding, the model now pulls real-time data from Google search, meaning your environmental lighting, locations, and references are incredibly accurate to the real world. Now, if you are a Pro subscriber, which means you have a paid account, and you want to use Nano Banana Pro, this is how you access it here, is through the 3-dot menu we can redo with Pro. Before we do, let's have a look at the picture full size. All right, so there's a battleship. It's looking pretty good. Notice I gave it the amount of time I wanted it under the water, so it wasn't too, just becomes a whole bunch of, barnacles and stuff. So we've got the giant squid here, we've got an octopus, and we've got the sharks. Okay, great. So let's see what happens if I recreate it in Pro. So this is clearly going to take a little bit longer. Nano Banana 2 can now go up to 4K resolution, so it can go anywhere between 512 and 4K, and the different sizes available. As of the time of this recording, this is not in Photoshop yet. I'm going to imagine it's probably going to be there pretty soon. Okay, so I'm looking at this here, and we're looking at the Pro version. In some ways, it's kind of more realistic. Of course, once you download it, you're going to get the higher quality. Okay, so if we look at this a little bit more resolution, okay, we can see here's our octopus, our stuff, and we can see this is a battleship. It's definitely a different angle, and in some ways this is more realistic. And we're going to do a 30 degrees angle. Okay, so here's Nano Banana 2. Okay, so now we're going to tell it photographic style, realistic, high resolution, 4K. And here we go. I wouldn't really call this photorealistic. I'd call it more of an illustrative style, but it's very detailed and very good. Let's have a look at the Pro version. So this is with the Nano Banana Pro. You know, there's some scale issues here, like these sharks are definitely a little, like this one is behind the ship, so it's definitely a little too large. So why don't we look at recreating this farm shot here. So first of all, I'm going to generate a bunch of characters. Let's make a silly cow. All right, so what I've done is I've generated these images. We've got a cow, we've got a pig, we've got a chicken, a duck, a goat, and a sheep. And they're all silly. And of course, the resolution's low because I generated these using the fast model. So why don't we see if we can incorporate them all into an image? We'll try a couple of things. We're going to use Pro, so we want to use the better version. Now this is going to use Nano Banana 2. It's not going to jump into Nano Banana Pro unless we prompt it later. And why don't we add these images? So we're going to click Add Files, Open. Okay, it's a smoky nightclub. These animals are all in a jazz band and performing on stage with different jazz instruments. All right, let's see how this does. All right, look at this. Tips for grass. That's brilliant. Okay, so we've got all of these on here. Let's download them full size so we can have a look at that. And let's do the Pro modification. So we're going to go back here. We're going to click and then we're going to choose Redo with Pro. And let's look at the Pro version. I'm definitely seeing more detail in the Pro. Let's try something that it excels at, and that is creating infographics. So why don't we do something in photography? Okay, we're going to create an infographic showing the exposure triangle for photography. We want to make it look like paper cutouts. We want it highly detailed and realistic. We're going for 4K and an aspect ratio of 16:9. Wow, okay. This is impressive. Let's have a look. And why don't we just download the full size one so we can look at it. Understanding the exposure triangle, and notice these are the things it excels in, and that is creating realistic text, as we can see. Is it perfect? Not necessarily perfect, but it's pretty good. So this is kind of looks nice. It's difficult to follow though, as far as looking at here and saying, okay, how does this work? The information is correct. It looks beautiful. The text is very good, but the execution of it is not easy to understand or necessarily even logical. But let's see what the Pro did. So if we look at the Pro version, let's download it. All right, so if we look at this, we can see it looks amazing. But as far as is this giving us what we want to do? Sort of. It would be nice to see an example here of a fast and slow shutter speed instead of just a slow shutter speed. And it would also be nice here to see a large and small aperture so we could see the difference. Where it did take the time to make the difference here is with the ISO. Although it's mislabeled, both of these say higher ISO, even though technically this one maybe should be lower because this one has a little bit less grain. Sort of makes sense. So as far as things like the layout, it looks beautiful. The text is very accurate. All right, so if we look at this, this does look like a cutout. Some of the logic needs a little bit of fixing, but it's pretty good. I love these cutouts here. Very nice. If we want to look at this here, we can look at the previous version and the next version. So one of the interesting things is we can show the thinking. So we can go down here and you can see the thought process behind everything, which is really interesting. And if we want to go to the Pro version, this is also going to give us the thought process behind it. And here we can see Nano Banana 2. This is showing us some of the things we can do with it. This is from the Gemini website. So one of the things I love here is being able to have it at different sizes and aspect ratios. So it seems to me that Nano Banana 2 is almost as good as Nano Banana Pro in quality. It's faster, but sometimes the Pro just kind of beats it out just a little bit, in my opinion. Now, if you want to see Nano Banana Pro working inside of Photoshop, check out this video right here. So as of right now, I checked Photoshop for the latest update. Nano Banana 2 is not in there yet. I have no idea when it's coming out, but if we look in the past, Adobe got it out pretty quick, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's not out pretty soon. So when this gets to Photoshop, I'll do another video on the new capabilities. So I'm curious, let me know your thoughts in the comments underneath. And if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. You won't miss any of my tutorials. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.